Astrology time, Shane here, daily-astrocat.com. Today is Tuesday, the 21st of July. So here we go. We're winding down, right? The last day of the sun in Cancer. It's going to switch tomorrow, guys. So here we go, all right? The moon's in Libra, and it's going to be void of course at 7:56 in the morning. But don't worry, it's only void of course for a couple of hours, right? It'll go into Scorpio at 9:35, also in the morning. So this is a relatively short void of course, and it's going to have a sharp effect. It's going to be like, boom. All right. Have you noticed that the news has been rather bleak and damning? There's been a story about the U.S. Justice Department issuing subpoenas to the press and getting warrants for the phone records of not just the reporters, but also their contacts, like their mother, right? It's crazy. Now, this is power gone mad, but it also highlights what I told you about yesterday about Libra moons, right? Always having a legal thing, a legal component that goes with them occasionally, right? And, you can do this on your own, of course. Now, look, they almost always surface with strong Libra aspects. And, look, I'm sure you can cite a few more that came to the forefront, even just over the last couple of days. But, look, doesn't that sound rather Mercury retrograde as well? Going after reporters and stuff like that? Yeah, it kind of does, right? So, look, there's also a theme about people in power trying to cling to that power. And that is very Jupiter. Now, I know Jupiter's a major benefic, and it's supposed to bring you all sorts of good things and good luck and expansion and, your opportunities and stuff like that. It's at the front of our cradle, for crying out loud. It's what's kind of dragging us forward and making this really, really powerful. However, think about it this way, right? It's a rather negative patriarchal reminder of what the power of Jupiter, how the power of Jupiter can be misused. Will Mercury retrograde flip this stuff today? Well, things are stirring. So what you need to know is that from this evening on, we're going to be able to assert positive control over some of the aspects of our lives. Okay? Scorpio moons are potent, driven, and probing. And today's keyword is ambition. So our color is wildfire smoke at night. Kind of looks like the gates of hell, right? So anyway, okay, all my Cancer friends out there, your suffering may be close to an end. But today, it's going to feel even worse than ever, okay? The sun is in that last degree of Cancer, the anaretic degree, right? And this is where you won't even feel like going out because you might see a dead bug. Tragic, right? Yes, you will feel safer in a darkened room with the lights out. Now, try not to cling too tightly to this because you are missing important information and lessons, okay? So, you may feel that way, but don't do it. You may be missing something, right? Now, look, you truly have no F's left to give, right? And that's because you begin to give yourself away. You give away pieces of yourself in the form of anger, or worse yet, self-loathing. The masculine world is trying to assert itself into every facet of our lives. In order to accomplish this, our culture has to vilify powerful female energy and portray it as evil and something that men can conquer and overcome just by being men. Yep, even astrology is not immune to that, right? This stuff was written by guys for guys, right? It doesn't matter if most women are following it, the ancient people and all that stuff. Yes, but there was one point way back when they actually had a clue, and we'll get to that in a second, right? Now, the result of this, though, is just a lot of white noise, and that can be paralyzing. But here's the thing, they can't get to you. That cradle that I talked about yesterday, from Pluto all the way to Jupiter, including Jupiter, is holding us and keeping us from that, right? There's nothing above us right now. That space is empty. The moon is up there, okay? The moon in Scorpio is the only thing that's opposite the cradle, and that's the only thing that's influencing us. So what you're seeing, what you're feeling in your mind and stuff like that is not the way things are. You got to go deep inside, trust yourself, and then follow that moon, right? That moon is, we're in the second quarter, and the second quarter is kind of like a report card. So you're turning a corner, especially if you got Cancer placements and stuff like that. But everybody's kind of turning a corner, and we're following that trajectory that's going to bring us into some abundance and that spiritual feeling that we're having inside that I've been talking about over the last week or so, right? Now, we could be potentially misled because we got Jupiter in the front, right? But we can see how it's that is Jupiter's nature that needs to be rehabilitated. All right, we can play a part in that. Now, the moon, after you're feeling all this stuff, right? Bam, then the moon enters Scorpio. All right, I brought up current events from yesterday just to illustrate how the astrology shows up daily. It's not that this is going to be, a news report or anything like that, but every once in a while, the news page will actually correspond with what the astrology is saying, right? And that was a good instance of it. Now, today, it's going to be up to all of us to tune out all of this stuff, right? Okay? Now, that doesn't, and if it doesn't apply to you, don't pay attention to it. Focus on you. Focus on your ambition, not the ambitions of others, right? The Scorpio moon is here to help us make it through till tomorrow, especially for you Cancer folks, right? Because once we get into Leo, it's a totally different game on, right? And that's going to be an interesting dynamic as well. So the moon entering Scorpio refills the F basket. Your little basket of Fs that you give? That's right. And actively plots to convert the caring Fs, right? Like the I don't care Fs into actively fucking shit up, okay? That's the best way I could do it. If it annoys us, yep, fill that basket right up. Scorpio, boom. Okay, so I'm not one to advocate for this active stance of retribution or anything like that. In most cases, karma will do the heavy lifting, especially for me personally. However, this doesn't mean that we need to have bad intentions, but what I'm saying is we need adequate wards and defenses, right? Most of you do that, right? Now, and if you don't, you should really start, because the intentions and awards and everything like that pay off in the long run. Okay? So now, we are breaking through on so many levels together, collectively, right? We're surpassing where we're supposed to be, but we got this little hiccup here that we have to get through, right? Cancer folks, people with Cancer placements, strong Cancer placements like Venus or Mercury or an ascendant or something like that, or even a midheaven, are feeling this. And this doesn't mean, so look, so we're breaking through, but what we're doing is we don't need to give in to those ambitions of others, okay? We're going to follow our own ambition and accept that this cradle that I spoke about yesterday and before is protecting us from many of those distractions, okay? We just need to accept that. And now we can begin to address the work that the moon in Libra has left undone, rebalancing the power of Jupiter. Now, right around 7 p.m. tonight, you're going to feel the energy begin to shift. For those who felt tied down by the last few days in Cancer, consider what I have to say carefully, okay? Because this is an important concept in understanding what the ancients thought of astrology and where we're going with it, right? The sun and moon are the only planets, and in astrology, all objects are considered planets, whether they're actual planets or it's the sun and moon. They're all treated as planets that did not have a dual polarity. Oh, really? Well, why, Shane? Well, for example, Mercury has a male polarity in Gemini, but a female polarity in Virgo. And you can go the same for all the other planets, right? An interesting exercise is just look at where the sun and moon are at. Look at Cancer and Leo on a zodiac chart, right? And if you start going backwards, you go forward and go backwards. And what you'll find that the planets are in order, okay? That's why Capricorn is the ruler of both, Saturn is both the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius, because they're together, just like the sun and moon are together in, the periods that they are at, Leo and Cancer, okay? But you can go backwards in order: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And that is your 12 rulers of the zodiac. both of those expressions for the planets, the actual planets, not the sun and moon, but the sun and moon, the other planets, are both male and female. They have dual polarity, okay? The sun and moon are an interesting case because, look, all the visible planets share it, right? But the most masculine and female archetype are the sun and moon. And the sun and moon are considered to be the same entity by the ancients. So they shared the energy. In other words, it was just a male and female aspect of the same thing, which is why they don't have that separate polarity. Like, say, for example, Saturn with the Aquarius and Capricorn, right? Capricorn's the female, Aquarius is the male, the masculine. I don't mean to say male or female, but it's just a polarity is a concept where one is active, one is more passive, one has more masculine attributes, where the other one has more feminine attributes. Totally written by guys, totally subjective, and we change that every time we talk about these things, right? We just have to discuss them from a traditional standpoint to really get to the point that I want to make, that the most masculine and feminine archetype in the zodiac exist in equal parts. Okay? In simplistic terms, the mother is understood as a source of life, and the father eventually became seen as the provider when matriarchal agrarian societies gave way to the conquering patriarchal war bands. A little bit of ancient sociology there, right? So honestly, you can look that up anywhere. That stuff is widely available. But that is really what we're up against, right? So look, we're going to flip the script. We go from the feminine, and we're going to go right into the masculine of Leo. And you guys can use that. So refill that F basket, but don't hand them out liberally, okay? Now, in 1853, Central Park in New York was created when the New York State Legislature put aside more than 750 acres in Manhattan. Now, it was designed by Calvert Vaux and Frederick Law Olmsted, who is considered to be the father of landscape architecture in the United States. And our birth, keeping it on the little bit of the legal side, right? In 1938, Janet Reno, the first female Attorney General, U.S. Attorney General from 1993 to 2001, born in Miami, Florida, and she died in 2016. See? That's legal carryover. And that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Leave me comments. Let's talk about this stuff, okay? I love doing that. So, had some great comments yesterday, shares, people saving favorites and stuff like that. I thought it would be more widely accessible. However, it does mention a little bit of politics in it. And anytime I do that, it didn't even have to be just a little shaded. Boom. Banhammer, right? It just starts getting hit, particularly on one or two more of the platforms, right? TikTok mostly, right? They tend to really look at that stuff. Facebook and Instagram still goes wild. About 5,000 every day, 5,000 views. So, hey, if you're from there, click on, say hello. The TikTok people seem to be a little more active in their comments and stuff like that, but Facebook and Instagram is definitely catching up. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate and love every single one of you. Today, report card day, right? How you doing? All right. So we're going to be coming into the Leo season tomorrow. So we're looking forward to it. Today's the 6th. Happy astrocatting.